Here's a topical question. Do you vote? Your neighbors may now know the answer after a flyer telling them so arrived in the mailbox. News 3's David Douglas gives us a look at the paper that has some people feeling pretty upset, David.
More than anything, Andy, I think it really just catches you by surprise. Meant as an attempt to drive voters to the polls, the mailing uses public information that not everyone wants publicized.
When I first looked at it, I thought it was kind of interesting, quite honestly.
In a world where so much is impersonal,
it was very interesting because it lists quite a few neighbors.
A last-minute recall flyer is proving all politics are not just local, but personal. Very personal.
Full legal names as well as their addresses. And then it lists what elections they voted in.
Carrie Lundgren lives in Waunakee. When she pulled the flyer out of her mailbox Friday, she immediately noticed something wrong. It said she did not vote in the November 2008 election.
When in fact I did. They only took their information from Wisconsin. In 2008, I was a resident in Illinois. So to all my neighbors, it looks as though I didn't vote, although I did.
The mailing is paid for by the Greater Wisconsin Political Fund, and though it never mentions Tom Barrett by name, it does make clear that more than 500,000 voters who cast ballots for President Obama in 2008 did not vote in 2010, and says that's why Scott Walker was elected. Lundgren, who supports Walker, says she gets the message.
To bully neighbors?
Quite honestly, I don't think that that's what the intent of it was.
In Sun Prairie, Nancy Thomas clearly does not support the governor, but tells us she was left with a very different impression.
I wondered, who's elderly and can't get to the voting?
In spite of the sign in her yard, Thomas says she wouldn't mind if the flyer came from the other side of the fence. She just wants every person to make their own personal decision.
My biggest thing is I want to see people exercise their right to vote.
And some versions of the flyer are different from each other. Some ask you to knock on your neighbor's doors or give them a call. Another version does not. And just to be clear, it does not show who you voted for, just whether or not you voted at all. The data can be bought in bulk for the entire state at $12,500. Whether or not the Greater Wisconsin Political Fund, an offshoot of the Greater Wisconsin Committee, did that or not, we don't know. They didn't return our messages, and several met jammed email and voicemail boxes. The GOB voter data, Andy, isn't always accurate either. You can check yours individually online. I did mine tonight, and for instance, I did vote in 2008 here in Wisconsin, and it says I didn't. So not a complete picture for everyone.
Well, some interesting literature showing up before Tuesday. David Douglas reporting. David, thank you.